You're about to learn one of the most powerful and counterintuitive principles for gaining control and influence over others. It revolves around a simple premise. Human beings are creatures of routine who crave predictability and patterns. We seek the path of least resistance, following the same habits, thoughts, and interpersonal dynamics day after day out of indolence or a desire for familiar comforts. Even animals adhere to detectable patterns that make them vulnerable to predators who can anticipate their movements. However, you can flip this universal tendency on its head by deliberately cultivating an aura of erratic unpredictability around your own conduct. Behave in a manner that utterly defies comprehension by those who instinctively seek to deduce rationale and motives behind the actions of others. While they fruitlessly expend mental energy trying to anticipate your next move based on past precedent, you achieve your aims almost effortlessly under the cover of the disorientation and imbalance you've sown. Phenomena that strike without warning or seeming rhyme or reason, flash floods, tornadoes, the abrupt dodging movements of a rabbit, instill terror in their capriciousness. You can similarly unnerve those around you through calculated inconsistency and the suspense of your unfathomable motivations. As they stumble into errors born of their bewilderment over your behavior's mercurial nature, you advance boldly with decreased opposition. Take the example of General Stonewall Jackson during the American Civil War. The Confederates were vastly outnumbered by the Union forces marching on Richmond. However, through a dizzying series of feints, counterintuitive troop movements, and other inexplicable tactical decisions that defied clear logistical rationale, Jackson utterly bewildered the far larger enemy forces under General George McClellan. One moment Jackson's army would advance northward, only to suddenly reverse course in the complete opposite direction for no discernible reason. Paralyzed by the chaos and inability to comprehend Jackson's true intentions, the Union's push slowed to a crawl as they demurred, enabling the Confederates time to solidify Richmond's defenses. Through sheer unpredictability as an underdog, Jackson transformed imminent defeat into stalemate against a materially superior foe. Beyond its immediate practical benefits for disarming adversaries, calculated unpredictability pays further dividends by generating an aura of respect and fear among any who observe your discordant patterns. As they fruitlessly speculate on the machinations behind your inexplicable conduct, struggling to attribute logic to your contradictory actions, you become formidable in their minds by virtue of the very uncertainty surrounding your motives. Perhaps the most vivid demonstration of Law 17 in action was the psychological warfare deployed by Bobby Fischer against Boris Spassky in the 1972 World Chess Championship. At the highest levels, chess represents a cerebral battle of pattern recognition, divining your opponent's overarching strategies based on their moves and adjusting accordingly. Spassky was a world-class grandmaster at this, with an uncanny ability to intuit his opponent's game plans. However, Fischer negated this key advantage from the outset through sheer baffling unpredictability in both his gameplay and personal conduct leading up to matches. He arrived inexplicably late amid bizarre complaints over trivial details like camera placements. He opened with seemingly amateurish moves in total violation of grandmaster tactics. He even forfeited a clear game victory for failing to show up on time. An utterly irrational decision for someone playing for the world title. Spassky became convinced Fischer was employing supernatural forces like hypnosis, or even dosing liquids and rigging equipment to undermine his performance. The Russian grandmaster's concentration was a smokescreen of inexplicable irrationality that soon degraded into hallucinations and nervous tics. Finally rattled beyond composure by Fischer's menacing unpredictability, Spassky resigned mid-match, ceding the championship to the master of calculated inconsistency who had thoroughly demoralized him. While Law 17 highlights unpredictability's power, there are exceptions where defaulting to steadfast consistency proves more strategic. For instance, consistently predictable behavior over time can induce complacency, allowing you to make calculated, unpredictable moves with less scrutiny once others' expectations are lulled. Suddenly, deviating from your perceived norms can prove so jarring that observers struggle to accept the shift as reality. Like Muhammad Ali abandoning his trademark fight night methodology to charge forward slugging with George Foreman from the opening bell, contrary to his declared pre-fight strategy. Additionally, unpredictable behavior from a subordinate may undermine their standing with supervisors who value adherence over disruption. A boss may respond by micromanaging an erratic employee to enforce consistency. So calculated unpredictability is less advantageous in certain hierarchical roles. In general, though, the strategic deployment of unpredictability represents an immense power for those skilled enough to wield it effectively. By shattering the expectations and equilibrium of those around you, kept perpetually off balance attempting to decipher the motives behind your capricious actions, you inspire a potent cocktail of fear and respect amid the uncertainty. While others remain trapped in unending cycles of self-doubt, second-guessing your inexplicable conduct, you achieve ascendancy almost effortlessly through the sheer menace of your willful inconsistency. On the battlefield, in elite competition, or the corporate world, Law 17 advocates unpredictability as a supreme instrument for gaining the highest forms of control and influence over the human mindset.